I think it's just I got to give my folks credit for giving me these screaming pipes.
Gifted,
Yeah,
gifted.
I think it's just the folks. I think it's genetics because, but I do appreciate multi-level screams.
I'm the president of the United States.
Mr. President, let's Secret Service, man. We're here to evacuate you and take you to the White House.
What about the first lady and the vice president?
We're gonna send a second chopper.
She's been having a little trouble breathing lately.
Define lately.
My name is Nigel Chambers. I am from Big Gold Belt Media. Aimee and Rob, thank you so much for your time today. And congratulations on your new film, Code 3, in theaters September 12th. How you two doing?
Doing
We're
great. Thank you.
great.
Thank you so much for the time. Rob, man, back-to-back weeks with movies. I just checked out Bad Man, and here you go
Oh,
again, another week, another dose of Rob. And I truly do want to start there, Rob, because I mean, you play such dynamic characters, and from one role of being a sheriff with a little bit of humor there to Dr. Sereno, who I'm not going to put a label on. I'm actually going to allow you to tell me because I feel like it's easy, and this is the empathetic heart of mine. I feel like it's easy to interpret this as a villain, but he could be misunderstood. Can you talk to me
Thank
about
you.
the balance and how would you label him? And while this is a story about EMTs, it's a connective tissue. We have to give respect to their roles and their triggers and their responsibilities and whatnot. But truly, just tell me your approach and how should we sort of perceive a character such as Dr. Serena?
I'm glad you said all that because I agree with a lot of what you just said. I think this character, I had a lot of empathy for him. Let me put it that way. I had empathy for the character because I realized the stakes that he plays with every night are life and death, and everybody probably in his mind is not necessarily working with him, and so he handles it now. Now this is where it gets. How he handles it is not great.
Yeah.
All right. He's a little sarcastic. No, he's a lot sarcastic, and he's got a really bad edge about it. There's all kinds of ways you can face, problems. He chooses sarcasm and aggression, and look, nobody's perfect. So, but that's how he looks at it, or that's how I feel like he approaches things with like that's his way of dealing with the pain and the drama and trauma of working where he does. So, yeah, he's a jerk, a little bit of a jerk. He could use another line, but I don't think it's been effective for him. I'm going to go deep on this character and say I think he's tried to be a nice guy and it just didn't work. So that's when he
Hmm.
switched over to being
Yeah.
an ice cold jerk. But I do think his heart's in the right place. I think he really is probably on some level. He just wants the wins. He wants to like the paramedics, like Amy's characters, Rain and Lil Rel's characters. They want the wins too. They
Yeah.
they want to save those lives if they can.
Okay.
But there's probably 50-50 wins to losses. So it's probably very taxing on your soul.
Yeah, and thank you for the answer because again, I just said this to Christopher and Rain. I was like, I looked at the cast and I said, oh, I feel like I'm going to this film and have a lot of laughs, a lot of fun, and really left out damn near tears because really the exposure into this profession and what they go through and how they advocate for folks who can't really advocate for themselves. We always talk about superheroes and we think capes and look at EMTs, who I also think very much often get overlooked for what they had to do. And I do think that with that sort of being the frame of this film, I don't think it's really trying to paint anybody out to be a bad guy. I think it is saying that everybody's just trying to do their best due to the circumstances. So I really appreciate your answer, and it's definitely going to make me have another look at it through a different lens. But Aimee, I want to ask you, and I was going to hold this off a little bit, but let's just get right into it. Your character has a twist.
He
And
does.
in the moment of this twist, through the arc of this twist, there is a lot of death intention. Can you talk about forming that scene with Rob? And can you talk to me about, I would imagine looking through the script and at some point you look down and you say, oh, I got the Joker card here. I love a good game of spades or a good game of Uno when you got the
Yeah,
draw four. They don't see it coming, but when you put it
they
out
don't
there, it's
see
like,
it.
Talk to me about this moment.
Oh my gosh, I love this moment. When I read the script, I didn't know what to expect, and I certainly didn't expect that. So I loved that twist. I think there's a lesson in there somewhere about, not judging a book by its cover. I don't know, but that scene with Rob was so fun to shoot. I don't remember it being. We didn't have too much time to do it. Like we didn't have a lot of time to do much in this, in that like it was a quick shoot. And there's a lot of movement with the camera and the thing. And I remember like having to move the gurney, and then Rob had to show up right on time. And it was, I think we might have even done that in one shot. I don't remember, but there was a lot going on, and that sort of helped because I was a little nervous to, as an actor, you're like, this is a big moment, you're nervous to do the thing. But it was really fun at the same time. We were so busy trying to hit the mark. Sometimes as an actor, it's like, people are like, what are you thinking about? I'm like, I'm thinking about hitting the right spot so that the camera doesn't, or, getting out of this actor's light. So it was really fun to do. And obviously Rob is like a dream scene partner because he's also like a legendary improviser also. So you just want to bring your A game. If you're the new kid in town, you want to make sure that you're not shitting the bed. You want to make sure that you're bringing up the game for everyone too. So it was exciting. It was probably one of my favorite days on set.
Amazing. Hey, all due and love to you, Rob, but Aimee 1, Rob 0 there.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. As it should be. As it should be.
Hey, Rob, I really want to slide this question in really quickly. Being a fan of yours for so many years, I've always wondered, what do you do for vocal conditioning and sort of self-care? Because if there's one person I know that got vocal range, it's you.
Oh,
And
yeah.
at any
Hell
point,
yeah.
you kind of brace like, oh, he's going to get one of them yells. Let's get ready for it. So I just wonder, how do you ever keep that equipped?
I want to know the answer to this too.
I don't have a strict regiment that I stick to or adhere to. I think it's just I got to give my folks credit for giving me these screaming pipes.
Gifted,
Yeah,
gifted.
I think it's just the folks. I think it's genetics because, but I do appreciate multi-level screams, high pitched all the way down to guttural. So
So you don't do like warm-ups or anything?
no, and I should because I can blow my voice out.
He said it's natural. It's genetic.
Can't
Just
put this
naturally
in a
gifted.
bottle.
I
Can't
mean,
put it in a bottle. You can't recreate that.
My God. Well, listen, last question I want to leave y'all off with, and there's really so much more I want to talk about the two respective characters. But I know for me, I went into this and I very honestly say, like, I took the profession for granted. You think you get picked up, they go there, they drop you off, that's it. And you see the measure of how they advocate for you. You see what their day to day, the chaos through all of it. And I thought this film was super raw. It wasn't at all sort of polished up to say like, here's a great day of how a life of an EMT in the LA area is. So I'm wondering for you, because of the intensity, the unpredictability of the day of the life of these professions, and through filming, what do you hope the audience remembers the most about these first responders and about the first responders profession and community going forward?
Well, this is a vocation. I can't imagine anyone being able to do this job unless they genuinely love the job as far as like saving lives. They want to make a difference. So I think that, sometimes we lump first responders in with, like government goons or people that are out there to make our lives harder. And it's like these folks in particular, the people that show up in at your most vulnerable moment, they come into your home, maybe the worst day of your life. They are so underpaid, and there are so few resources for them when they do need help, like mental health help and someone to talk to and decompress with. They don't have those things available to them. So they're literally doing it because for almost for free because they love to do it. And so I would hope that just a little bit, I mean, Rob, I'm stealing your answer, but he did in a previous interview say like appreciation, just the smallest kind of nod to the stuff that they see. And it is it's a very punk rock job, and they do a lot with very few resources. And, it's something that deserves our respect and appreciation.
That's a great way
Absolutely.
to put it. Absolutely. Absolutely. Do you want me to dive in on that too, or
If
was
you could, sir, and we'll
oh,
wrap there. Yeah.
uh um well, yeah, I think it goes back to appreciation. It go and really understanding, like I didn't understand how little they were paid. I really put them, at a much higher salary and thought that they were right up there with police officers and firemen or firefighters. I really I said, oh, they're in that class, but I was shocked to learn how little money they make, unfortunately, and then the amount of stress and strain that they're under. I mean, all of our first responders deal with a tremendous amount of mental. I don't want to say mental health. They deal with trauma and drama every single day, and you cannot do that every single day
Hmm. Hmm.
without some sort of repercussion
Yep.
or some sort of effect on you. So I really and I'm part owner of a mental health company to help veterans and first responders for this very reason. I work with a lot of veterans groups, so I know the importance of it, and it can't. We do need to take care of those who take care of us. So hope
Thank
people
you
have
so much.
appreciation for that.
Thank you so much for that. I'm going to wrap, but I was just telling Chris that these type of films typically don't warrant sequels, but because all these characters grabs you at the heart, you kind of want to know what their next day is with another 24 hours. But I'll be honest, Rob, with that statement, I would love to see what the resources aspect of it look like on film to kind of see, really open up and sort of create sort of this normalized conversation about mental health through these folks that we take for granted, who don't get paid, who goes through the immense amount of stress, who see people die in their arms every day, and we think they just go home and sleep and it's just okay. I think
Hmm.
there's definitely a story that could be told there that folks would be interested in seeing. So one way or another, I really did love this film, and really do hope that everybody goes out and support Code 3 in theaters September 12th. Aimee, Rob, thank you so much for your time today. A complete honor to have this discussion.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Take care.